Good morning and welcome in to the Pats Nation. I'm CORSO. CATONE look at CATONE smiling away on a Sunday
Yeah.
morning. And
It's
Joe,
game day. How can you not be smiling? It's game day.
get your coffee, get your cruller, and let's go. So you are watching us.
Get your Krella. Oh, my
Krella.
God.
Get the cruller.
You sound like you're 60 Krella.
Hey, listen, it's time, man. It's football Sunday, man. Come on.
All right, let's go.
Sunday fun day, baby.
And everybody's
That's right,
watching us on
Sunday fun day.
YouTube, listening. Hey, when you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, give us that thumbs up, and scan the QR code down there. Joe tells me it takes us to a lot of cool stuff. So make sure you're scanning that QR code. And, of course, you're listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you podcast, and 790 The Score. And give us a call at Needed Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S, message line 24/7. Have a take, will you please? Don't irritate Mark first thing in the morning. So make sure you have a take, or send us an email in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. And, hey, look, make sure when you're on YouTube, send us a comment on what we're talking about, what we're doing. We always respond to those. So, gentlemen, we have a good one today. We're going to be talking in QB breakdown. We're going to be talking how can we possibly keep him upright.
Get worse?
No, how are we going to keep Jacoby Brissett upright to win this game? And Pats, and we're going to go.
Didn't get any worse. I threw you off right off when I
You
said
did throw me
worse.
off right away. And in Pat's preview, we're going to preview the San Fran game and give you our keys to victory. And of course, Coach's Corner. Stick around for that. And we're going to try to make you some money in this strange first 3 weeks of the NFL. It's topsy-turvy.
It has been strange.
But we did give you a couple last week, so stick around for that. Gentlemen, don't leave your heart in San Francisco. That's the title of the show today, guys.
You know you are a dinosaur. What Tony Bennett? He's using
Don't
Tony
leave
Bennett
your heart in San Francisco.
Joe, pull the plug on him. Pull the plug.
Boy, the tubes. What do you call them? The pipes. The pipes.
The pipes. You know, Sinatra said that he had the best pipes in the business. Imagine.
Yeah, well, he did.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Sinatra had the best pipes in the business, but
Yeah,
you know.
did.
Well, but it comes with the attitude. That's why.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I actually saw him at the Hollywood Bowl with Lady Gaga. That was cool.
Who's this, Tony Bennett?
Tony Bennett.
Oh, that must have been great to see.
Yeah,
Sinatra said that Bennett had the best pipes. I thought Sinatra said he had Sinatra had the best pipes.
You know what?
Bennett doesn't have the best
could
pipes.
get away with saying exactly that, but no.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured. That sounds like him. All right,
I love Lady Gaga. We're way off track now.
All right, we don't talk about Lady Gaga. I don't even know who the hell that is. So, but we do need to talk about the quarterbacks. We're going to do it a QB breakdown, and we're going to do it now.
Okay, now.
Hit it, boys.
You said you were going to evaluate film based on quarterback performance. Is there a possibility you consider a change?
I don't know. Look, we talk about it every single week. You know, you're competing for a job. So we'll get together as a coaching staff and see where it goes.
Gerard said before, I don't know what we do going forward. The coach don't want to look at it. Do you still feel like it's your job? Or?
Oh, of course. I mean, I don't make personnel decisions. My job is to go out there, get ready to play, put good football on tape, and put my best foot forward.
Get my face kicked in. My job is to go out there and get my face beat down and beat in every week in and week out. That was, of course, Gerard Mayo and Jacoby Brissett at post-game from the Jets debacle. Mark, so yesterday on CORSO and CATONE, we talked about the Jets game, and we talked about him getting beat down and just beat the hell. 15 times, sacked 5 times. Drake May sacked twice. So it doesn't get easier today.
No, it gets. Listen, if you thought you had a hard time against the Jets, Chris, what are they going to do against Bosa, Warner, the kid Leonard Floyd, another good pass rusher? I mean, they're lucky that Hargraves is out and they're lucky Greenlaw's out. They'd really be in trouble, Chris.
Jacoby Brissett may have intentionally missed the plane, but here's the thing. Instead of them asking him, do you consider yourself? You should ask him, do you want to? be the starter anymore on this team. How did they get the? I mean, I have to believe some of this is going to be you got to get the ball out quicker. You have to. How are they going to do that? How do they get the ball out quicker?
Well, Chris, listen, they're going to have to go back to their identity from the first couple of weeks, and they're going to have to go back and establish the running game. Okay, they're going to have to stick with it,
which I think you can do against this team a little bit.
I think you can. I think they're going to have to try to do some of what they did in the summer in training camp. They tried to go to the stretch zone runs, right? Obviously you've done the first couple of weeks. You had a lot of power running in between the tackles. You're going to have to, Chris, go back to what you did the first 2 weeks and then go to play action. Try to get the ball downfield. Listen, San Francisco, Chris, plays a lot of zone defense. So they forced you to go 14, 15, 16 play drives to get down the field. So you're going to have patience, and they're going to have to stick with something they're going to have to stick with what they did at the beginning of the year, Chris. They tried to get creative last week because they listened to the media. Get Pop Douglas the ball. That's not what Van Pelt wants to do. Van Pelt, you trust me, Chris, this week is going to go back to what you saw the first 2 weeks of the season. And I don't think he gives a care that he's going to get criticized for, because at the end of the game, when it's fourth quarter and you got a shot to win it or steal it, that's all he cares about. He don't care if it looks like 1968 football. He really don't.
Well, I'll tell you this, okay? See, I disagree. I disagree with that idea. Like, I agree with you that that's what he's going to try to do. But
I'm telling you, that's what he's going to do, Chris.
When it comes to the quarterback, though, because, I mean, look, I get it with the running game. I mean, if the 49ers gave up 100
you're
yards
rushing. You're going to see jumbo personnel, heavy personnel again. Watch. You're going to see heavy. I guarantee you're going to see it, Chris.
But the problem is you put Brissett in such – see, this is the thing with the quarterback. Brissett's put in such bad positions that way when you do that kind of stuff, because they're gonna be playing from behind. I mean, let's face it, they're gonna be playing from behind. So when you look at the quarterback play this week and you look at Brissett and what do we need to do to get the, to me, he's got to take more chances. He can't be so concerned about I don't want to turn the ball.
He's not going to.
I know, but he hasn't had a pick yet. Is this the week that he starts turning the ball over a little? I don't know, but I can tell you this: if we're going to go down, I'd rather go down swinging a little bit more. I'd rather Jacoby Brissett walk out there and say, look, this ball's coming out in 2 seconds. This ball's coming out in 2.5 seconds. That's it. We're not going to get hit 15 more times this week. This ball's coming out. So Pop Douglas, Polk, Baker, whoever the hell's out in the field, get your ass open. And you know what? If I'm Jacoby Brissett, I'm coming to the sidelines and I'm saying to Van Pelt, hey, look, you go out there and get hit 15 times. Let's see some rub routes. Let's see some bubble screens. Let's see some wide receiver screens. I'm sick and tired of this vanilla crap. And get the goddamn ball out of your hands. I don't blame Brissett, but I think he needs to start taking that attitude and say, look, what are we doing here? Let's go. And I think maybe you'll have a little, because you can't let him sit there. And like you say, you're going to run the ball. I agree they're going to try to do it. But as far as the quarterback goes, because we're in quarterback breakdown, to me, that's – and I don't think we're going to see May, and I hope we don't in this game. I don't. I hope we don't, Mark, see this guy.
No, I don't think you're going to see May, Chris. But listen, Brissett, this is what he was brought in to do, Chris. Mistakes. Don't make mistakes. Don't turn the ball over. That's what he's doing. Yeah. And by doing so, Chris, he's not forcing things. So he is holding on to the ball maybe a split second too late, waiting to see if somebody gets open. And I know you're going to get into wide receivers a little later. They're not getting off the ball. They're not getting open. You're going to yell and scream about that. But I think he's waiting to see if they do, rather than getting rid of the ball. And that's leading to sacks. That's leading to a bunch of quarterback hits. So, yeah, Brissett, Chris, I know you can't put all the blame on him, but I think he's going to have to do some things a little bit differently, Chris, back there to try to at least get things moving.
Yeah,
he can't go back there and sit back there and do what he did last week. Listen, what he did against the Jets, Chris, was 60. What did he have? 63 total yards passing.
61.
61. Chris, that's a disgrace. In 2024, that's a disgrace.
You can't have that. You can't have
that's
that.
a disgrace.
And on the other side of the ball, Brock Purdy. Mark, everybody's talking about the guys that are going to be out this week. Okay, Purdy's throwing to Jennings, Ayuk.
But Purdy's banged up, Chris.
Yeah, he's banged
Samuel's
up.
out. Kittle's banged up.
But Mark,
Obviously,
these guys were out last week.
McCaffrey's out,
But they were out last week, and he still threw
and they
for.
lost.
He still threw for 2. I get it, but he still threw for 3 touchdowns. He 11. Jennings caught 11 passes. We'll get to that in the defense, but I'm saying that Purdy can get it done. He can get it done.
Okay.
And
But
so
he was
we'll
on
see.
the injury report too, so who knows?
We'll see. So we'll see what happens with the quarterback. But to me, that's what has to happen. Mark believes some of that too.
I believe you're going to go. I do, but I believe they're going to go back to basics. I think they're going to take the ball out of Brissett's hand this week, Chris. That's what I think about the quarterback.
Well, then I'm going to throw up in my mouth a little. But QB Breakdown was presented by CORSO Law Group, CORSOLawGroup.com. Hey, we come back. We're going to go preview. We're going to go into Pat's preview, talk about this game offensively, defensively, and so much more. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with more Pat's Nation. Listen, Mark, let's preview this thing. What do you say, huh?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see.
Okay.
Pat's preview.
Okay, so it's a 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. I think 4:05 to be, more accurate.
Yep.
Out in
I
San
think
Francisco,
I think it's 4:05.
It's a 10.5 point underdogs. So nobody's giving them a chance in this game, and except Joe. But he really wants Joe. You really want San Fran.
Oh, Joe's Joe kid, and he's rooting for San Fran.
He still thinks Joe Cool is playing. But anyway,
Do you think he could come in and actually beat the Patriots, Joe Cool, all retired and everything?
right about now, I don't know. It's depressing. But Mark, let's talk about the offensive, and let's talk about some of these keys to victory. Okay, if they are going to win this game, how are they going to do it? And let's start with the offensive line, Mark. How are you going to deal with this pass rush?
You're going to deal with the pass rush. You're going to run the ball.
Stay home.
That's how you're going to deal with that. Listen, Chris, I'm telling you, you're going to be screaming and yelling because Ramondre Stevenson and Gibson, Antonio Gibson, they're going to have probably between 40 and 50 carries for the game. You're going to see Ramondre with 20, 25 carries. You'll probably see Gibson with 10, 12 carries, maybe. You're going to see 35 to 40 carries, I'm telling you. And that's how you stop the San Francisco rush, by running the football. Watch. And you're going to go nuts because Brissett's going to not throw the ball very much. It's going to be back to what he did the first couple of weeks.
No, Mark, listen, I agree.
You're going to have that in the say anyway.
You're going to see 12 personnel. You're going to see unbalanced. You're going to see heavy. You're going to see all of that stuff. And that's great. And that's all well and good. And I do think you can run the ball a little bit against this team. The problem is, okay, at some point, they are going to have a lead on you. Okay. So if your whole idea is to try to win this game, at some point you're gonna have to put the ball in the air. Okay, you're gonna have to do it, and that means your offensive line is not gonna hold up.
You're gonna see a lot of zone from San Francisco. They play a lot of zone defense, and within.
I don't know why they need to, because I know that's what they do. Yes,
within that zone defense, Chris, they force you to move the ball 13, 14, 15 play. They're extended play. They make you extend play drives, Chris. You got to go on extended drives. There's no quick scores against San Francisco typically. Can our offense do that?
Well, look, the thing about this is the 50% pressure rate on Jacoby Brissett, which is absurd, 47, whatever the hell it is. It's the most in the league. And against these two ends, you talked about it, Bosa and Floyd coming off the edges. So what do? Well, you got to shorten the drops. You can't play action really can't be part of the game. I know you want to run the ball, but I can't imagine how the hell you turn your back on these guys in play action. And now you're at a 5-7 step drop because they just can't hold up this offensive line. The drops have got to shorten. Maybe you got to play a little more out of the gun. You got to do a little more with your movement. So you don't have to protect for 3+ seconds. I mean, that's some of the things you got to do. And then talking about the wide receivers, Mark, and by the way, to help on that, you're going to have to chip. You're going to have to bring running backs in the backfield, Gibson, guys like that can chip off the edge and slow these guys down coming off the edge. And so that's some of the stuff. Now, talking about the wideouts, so you say, okay, if you're going to shorten the drops and you're going to limit it to 3 seconds, and less than 3 seconds out the ball, well, what the hell are the wide receivers capable? And what are they going to have to do?
Well, Chris, you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to use the tight ends like they like to use tight ends if you're going to have quick drops and get the ball out, because they're not going to be the ones who are open, Chris. You're going to have to, like you always say, Pop Douglas is one of the quickest guys, 0 to 10 yards in the league, getting that separation. You're going to have to figure out ways, Chris, to get him in the slot, get him the ball. I still think Jalen Polk can work the slot for you if you put him in the slot. I know they move him around all over the place, but to your point, Chris, Brissett's going to have to get the ball out. And Chris, does Brissett go with the more shotgun this week to try to help with the pass rush?
I mean, I think you're going to have to try some of that, because again, if you're playing from behind, you got to put points on the board. You got to move the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Like, that's what's going to have to happen. And you're going to have to try to protect the defense a little bit better. I gave all kinds of crap to the defense last week, but yeah, I mean, 19 minutes of total of possession for the offense, that sucks. I mean, you can't have that. So, let's see what the wide receivers are going to do. They got to help them, Mark, with rubs. They got a rub route for them. If you're going to put the stupid tight ends on the field, okay, then use them. Look, you see Kansas City do it all the time. You saw it the other night. Coming across the field, Watson rubbed for guess who? Juju Smith-Schuster. He looked fantastic.
Please.
Because they rubbed for him and he was wide open underneath. Why can't we do this?
I don't know, Chris. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like an offense from the past. It's a blast from the past, our offense. I just don't. And Mayo, Chris, he's not an offensive guy. He's not like Slotnick from Houston or one of these, McVay trees or one of these guys. So you don't have one of those guys, Chris, in Mayo, and even his and I know Van Pelt, they say, uses West Coast premises in his offensive
there's some
scheme.
principles in there. Yeah,
There's principles in there, Chris, but is it really West Coast? No, it's not.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, you have to look. All I could tell you is offensively, you have to do better than what the hell were the numbers last week, Mark?
What did he have? 60-something yards passing, though?
Yeah, I mean, but on third down, the Patriots were 2 of 11. I mean, you got to do a hell of a lot better than 2 of 11. They were 1 of 4 in the first half of that game, and then 2 and 7 in the
terrible.
second half.
2 of 11, 2 for 11
on third down. Yeah, I mean, you just can't play that way. I mean, you had 61 yards passing, Mark, 139 yards total offense. That sucks.
Yeah,
so no, you got to do different things. You got to.
Let me ask you something. Do you think you see Drake May in the fourth quarter?
I hope not.
All right. Yeah, I hope not
Drake
too.
May. Did you
not
see the hit he took?
Team, not against this team.
Did you see the hit he took last week?
Well, your offensive line is like the little sisters of the ball.
There it is, Joe.
There it is. Hey, let me ask you this question. Do you think
no
Pelt is dumbing down this offense so that May could catch up? Is that like a thought at all?
No, I think what it is, and Mark, you tell me if you disagree with this. What I think it is the fact that I think the game speeds up on him in game.
Speeds up on who?
Van Pelt.
Van Pelt. Okay.
I think the game's speeding up on him with his play calling, and I honestly think he's coaching scared right now.
Yeah.
He's coaching not to make a mistake.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
And so there's not a lot of, and I don't know if they're even caught up with their offensive install to the things we want to see. I don't know what goes on in practice. I don't know if the full playbook is open yet. You see it around the league, Mark, in a lot of these teams. The offenses are bad right now.
But the playbook's not open yet. Oh my God.
Well, yeah. I mean, so
no, you're right. Offensively around the league, it's not good football that we've been seeing around the league. So I don't know. Is that a testament to the fact that the defenses are catching up and because of certain rule changes? I don't know. But
Yeah.
I know one thing: you ain't seeing nothing creative, nothing innovative out of the Patriots. That's
No.
for sure.
No.
Are you seeing anything? If anything, Chris, I think Matt Patricia and Billy O'Brien were more innovative with how they got guys the ball.
Look, this is going to sound crazy, but the Kansas City Chiefs are not flooded with talent on offense right now. They're not spewing out talent. And Mahomes isn't having like a ridiculous season so far. The point is, Andy Reid is doing things. I gave you an example of that. They did that 2 or 3 times in that game where they rubbed for their white. Juju Smith-Schuster sucks. Okay. I mean, that wasn't a Mahomes thrown across his body. That was a simple read. It was a crossing route with a rub, and he was wide open. I mean, Andy Reid does things to get these guys open. So to answer your question, Joe, I don't think he's done. It's sort of like when we were trying to build this team to 53-man roster. We said cut it down to 53. No. It's build it up to 53.
Yeah.
He's trying to build up this thing. He's not dumbing it down. I don't think he's good enough to dumb it down. I don't think the playbook's good enough to begin with. So, that answers your question. So, now, so that's offensively, Mark. I mean, right? So some of those keys, I got to play, don't turn the ball over, same stuff, right? Don't play behind the sticks, limit the
same stuff, Chris. It's all the same stuff with this team because they can't do anything different. Yeah. They don't have the talent level, Chris, to do anything different.
And so moving to the other side of the ball, we're coming off a 400-yard, disaster against Aaron Rodgers and company. So now this week, you mentioned it in the last block, I think, or maybe yesterday, about catching a break. Okay?
Yeah.
And they are. I mean, they're going to have key guys out. You're talking, I don't know if Kittle, but you're going to have McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. Now, they've been out, and it didn't seem to bother them too much as far as getting the ball to Jennings last week.
No, it didn't. But they still, they lost the game, and even though. But no, you're right. They didn't seem to have a problem going to Jennings. And listen, the backup running back that they've been using is not. I mean, he's not Christian McCaffrey by no means, but the kid can run the football. So it's going to be interesting to see defensively. Chris, our defense last week was terrible. The edges were terrible. Sealing the edge. The tackling was horrendous. The middle of the field was horrendous. Like there's got to be a huge influx into something, more game planning, energy. Like they didn't, Chris, it was a short week, and you could tell it was a short week because they didn't look like they were ready to play or prepared to play, did it? No.
And we're going to hear from Peppers in a minute on that a little bit because the tackling, the tackling was so bad. Okay, like you say. And before we hear that, I will tell you this. San Francisco rushed the ball for 137 yards last week. Okay.
And that goes to something you've been concerned with since Bondmore got hurt, Chris.
The size of the front. Farms, Equale. And again, so and Brock Purdy rushed for 41 yards. So you let Aaron Rodgers last week float out of that pocket and just sit there in the flat, just waiting for guys to come open. You do that against Purdy, he's going to run the ball for 30 yards. He's going to all of a sudden look like Josh Allen.
Well, Chris, a couple of those rollouts that obviously Rodgers has lost a step, isn't what he once was. And he threw, as he got out of the pocket, he threw the ball down the field, or a couple of times had an 8-9 yard gain, stepped out of bounds. As Purdy makes that corner, Chris, if they don't seal the edge, Rodgers had wide open field in front of him on a couple of those. But he chose to go out of bounds. You don't want to get hurt. Purdy's not going to go out of bounds. Like you said, Chris, it's going to be a 25, 30 yard gains a pop every time he does it.
Right. And so you got to worry about that. You got to worry about the run game and the tackling. And you know what? They were pissed off. You heard Peppers in the post game last week, Joe.
And it's simple. We just didn't play well enough. Play well at all. To be honest with you, too many missed tackles, missed assignments, lack of hustle at times. Just super uncharacteristic of us. And from a man to a man, we know we got to play better, in all phases of the ball, but especially on defense.
Disgusted he is.
Chris, but how about he said he mentions lack of hustle at times. Couple of things he mentioned there, Chris. It's almost like he's taking a shot at coach. Yes.
Yeah.
Week 3, Chris.
Yeah. So for all the stuff on Catone's comments about how great the coaching staff is.
Here we go. I walked into that one, Joe. I walked right into it.
So it'll set up there.
No, but seriously, I mean, let's see how these things go as the season grows and things get tougher and tougher and tougher. How much of a back they're going to have his back, meaning Mayo. And let's see. But listen, so the tackling is going to get better, clearly. Jelani Tavai. Because look, he's not coming out of this game anytime soon. Okay,
no,
we're going to have to just
suffer
with
Bentley,
through it.
Chris being out, Tavai's like a mainstay now with Bentley out. Yeah.
Right. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this yesterday. Listen. I'll go down the Jelani Tavai highlight reel. Okay, where he's flat-footed, he missed tackles, he whiffed. Somebody basically broke his ankle out there. He couldn't get a tight end Conklin across the middle of the field where he kind of one side to the.
I didn't even know who he was. Had 100 yards receiving just about the tight end.
Right, and then to top it off, he's so good he can get away with personal fouls. He's driving the run. The only good play he made all day was he had Breece Hall driving him back. And what does he do? He picks him up and body slams him on the ground and gets a 15-yard penalty. You jackass, you know. I mean, who the hell do you think you are, Ray Lewis?
And Mayo left him on the field, Chris.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's got the green dot. That's it. You're gonna stay out there. So again, he that's a problem. Okay, in the middle of the field because of the way they run the ball. And then talking about the edges, Mark, talking about Jennings and talking about Ayuk. Okay, I'm okay with Gonzalez so far. I mean, he had a little bit more of a difficult. No, he wasn't. Oh, he was okay last week. He wasn't like stellar, but he was all right.
He was all right.
So I'm okay with him on Ayuk. But Austin, I mean, Austin, every experiment over there is not working. Austin at the other corner. Austin, Wilson. What are you going to try Bolden
Chris,
now?
I'm going to tell you
something.
something.
Do over there?
Chris,
Jonathan Jones hasn't had a good year either.
No, he hasn't. Chris, the way that they use Deebo Samuel, you're lucky he's out. You're lucky he's out.
For sure. Yeah.
Because he would have ate up our defense, especially that other side. And so I'm interested to see, Chris, how the other side holds up because you got to believe Christian Gonzalez is going to be on Ayuk, right?
Well, we don't know about Kittle either. So, we
don't know about Kittle. Kittle's an X factor because, listen, if Conklin did that to us, what do you think Kittle will do if he plays, Chris?
That's it could be very, very scary. So, again, I mean, let's start with the tackling. Okay, let's just start with that. Let's start with setting an edge. Let's at least keep Purdy in the pocket. And if you're going to get beat on the edges if you're going to get beat that way. I'm not hugely upset. I'm upset with everybody last week. But you've got to keep them into third and long situations. My God, you've got it. They were 10 of 15, the Jets, last week on third down conversion. You got to get off the goddamn field. You got to get off the field when you have a chance to get off the field. Your offense isn't good enough to bail your ass out. So you better get off the damn field. You better tackle better, and you better hope Kittle doesn't play.
Yeah. Chris, listen, if you're going to have to go on the road and play San Francisco, this is the best week you can get to play San Francisco on the road because otherwise you'd have no shot if they had their full complement of players.
Right.
So,
absolutely. So we'll see what happens. But to us, those are the keys to victory, offensively, defensively. These are the things they got. Listen, if they do these things, they have a chance. They have a chance if they do these things.
They have a fighting chance if they do
on an asterisk. Special teams. Special teams has got to continue to be good. It hasn't been bad. It has to continue to be what it is, and maybe we got a shot. So Pat's preview was presented by Corso and Catone, Saturdays, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern. We got Catone's comments. God, you never want to miss that. Who knows? He's going to be complimenting the Mayo and company again.
Oh, listen, give that a break now. That was 1 week. I said a couple of nice
Catone's
things
comments.
About them,
B's and C's is back, so make sure you're tuning into that 12 to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. But hey, when we come back, going to go in coach's room in coach's corner. No flipping. The real deal New England Field. What does that mean? We're like you. We're going to bitch about everything.
My opinion, our draft, the good, the bad, it was ugly.
These people, Mark, drive me freaking insane. Bananas.
It's so frustrating and aggravating. I can't take it.
The real deal New England Field. It's going to be real. Back in with more Pats Nation. It is the real deal New England Field on Corso and Catone, right? Do you have your coffee, Mark? Do you have your coffee yet?
I almost put a little something in the coffee this morning to get ready for the game. If the game was 1 o'clock, I might have partaken in a little something, but the game's later in the day, so I can wait. You know what I mean?
He's just an absolute degenerate, Joe.
I'm a degenerate. What? Listen, it's game day. We have to get ourselves motivated after the last 2 weeks. Well, hey.
These people are relying on you. The nation is relying on you for good analysis, picks of the week,
I'm giving
making money. Stop drinking.
Listen, I didn't say I was going to do it during or before the taping. After we're done with the show, everybody's tailgating today. I might as well do a little tailgating.
You're gonna have to add a new segment.
Well, actually, I'm sorry, they're not tailgating here. They're tailgating in San Francisco. But in honor of Joe, we can pretend like we're in San Francisco.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So,
do you think any Patriot fans actually took the trip out there, Chris? The way we've been playing?
Who the hell knows? San Fran's not the best place to go these days. No. But let's get into the coaching room. We want to do it in Coach's Corner. Joe, let's have it.
Coach's Corner.
I still look at all the.
I still don't know where they are.
Where do you find those pictures?
I don't know where we get those pictures from.
Well, we want to hear from Gerard Mayo. Want to talk about a little bit of his post-game presser as it leads us to what needs to happen today. So, Joe, when you're ready, let's play it.
Look, not good in any phase of the game. Felt like we had a good game, X's and O's wise. We just didn't go out there and execute, and that's what it comes down to every Sunday. I told the guys, this is NFL football. This is what it is, and we just have to be better. So the guys will be off the next few days. Told them to, get their minds right, get their bodies right, and then come back and be ready to work.
Get their minds right and their bodies right.
So we're going to go against next week. We just got to be better.
That was more for Brissett. He's got to keep him in shape, keep him playing, give him an extra day off, keep getting hit.
God. That, of course, was Gerard Mayo after the Jets game and his post game. So we got to be better, got to do better, got to do everything better. Take the next few days off.
Yeah, and then didn't even say in another clip, we called it we got a bonus Monday. What the hell is that bonus Monday? What does that mean? Is that a bonus Monday for practice? What is that?
Maybe he's tailgating.
Because typically you don't practice on a Monday if you have a Sunday game, right? So maybe he is tailgating. I don't know.
Okay, looking at this situation today now. Yesterday we bashed the living crap out of these coaches, and of course Catone, and so he's got to be. Look, when you bring it down to Mayo, when you're talking about Mayo, he's got to be better in game. They've gotten out coached now the last 2 weeks. Now I'll give them the Cincinnati game because Cincinnati's an absolute train wreck. Mark, you had it nailed, hit it on the head. That come down to by the time week 6 or 7 rolls around, this Cincinnati win is going to look like nothing. It's going to look like we beat Carolina.
Yeah, because they're a bad team. Chris, so let me ask you a question. You just mentioned what do you perceive that as?
Well, first of all, if you're going to be a head coach in this league and you're going to take a job like this and you're going to be an OC and you're going to be Covington and DC, you better be prepared and able to get your team ready in 3 days for a Thursday night game. And they were not.
Okay.
And it was showed up all over the place, just from schematically. And so when I talk about you got to be better in game, situations. He's a defensive guy. You got to know, you got to be better before the half to just blitz, to just bring guys and play man.
And that was from the Jets game,
and
right?
This is in the Jets game, yeah. And they did it in the Seattle game too. I mean, you had situations in these last couple of games where they look confused as to how they want to handle end of half, end of game situations. You know, how they want to use their timeouts, how they want to take penalties, accept penalties, decline them. You know, all these little things that turn into big things. So when you're a team who stinks as bad as they do, all these little coaching decisions make a big difference in a game. So to me, he's got to be better in that regard. And he's got to hold the team. You know, he's saying he's holding them accountable. I want to know how he's holding them accountable. Okay? You can't tackle like that and then take the next few days off. Whatever.
Chris, that was one of the worst tackling performances I've seen out of a Patriot team in a long time.
Yeah.
No?
Peppers agreed with you. You know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was bad.
So again, that's with Mayo, and I'll say the same thing about Covington. Can't, and then I'm going to turn Alex Van Pelt over to you. You can't be blitz happy because Purdy will kill you. Purdy will run. We talked about that in the last segment. He will get out and run. So you can't be blitz happy. You can't stick these guys in man all day long and expect them to hold up, especially on that off corner position where you got that other boundary corner where you're talking Austin or Wilson or Bolden, whoever the hell is playing out there, even Jonathan Jones. They haven't been good enough to just strictly stand up, play man coverage, and blitz the hell out of these teams without much disguise.
If Kittle plays Sunday, watch how much motion and how many things that they put into place. San Francisco, Shanahan to confuse the Patriots and to have them out of position and on their heels and thinking something's coming, but it's not coming. Watch what he's going to. You want to know about schooling? Going to school and taking out your books and your number 2 pencil and a bunch of erasers.
Number 2 pencils
and a bunch of erasers. That's what Mayo's going to have to do because Shanahan's going to school them, I think.
Remember the story? Joe, what was the story he told about the number 2 pen? What did he tell a story in Catone's comments one of those weeks about pencils?
Oh, probably. I probably was. Yeah, I don't know. I was probably on some tangent. I don't know what I was talking about that day.
So no, yeah, agreed. And you have to, as a DC, you got to be able to protect what your deficiencies are, what your weakest link. And right now, your weakest link is the inside, the middle of the field, Jelani Devine. And if you're gonna try to make him run with this tight end or pretty much anybody, okay, you're in trouble. So if you're not going to disguise well, and you're not going to have a good pressure package with 4, okay, where you can bring heat at times, disguise it well, that's the way you protect your inside linebackers when you don't have them. It ain't like Warner on the other side of the ball, you know.
Chris, I'm listen. Maybe they went a little vanilla last week because, I mean, did they think that what were you going to throw at Rodgers that he hasn't already seen, and we don't necessarily have the players to do it anyways?
Then don't blitz.
And don't blitz. Yeah.
Then get into zone more. Disguise it. You can disguise it with him too. I mean, Christ, get into zero look a little bit. Drop some guys. Take your safety, make him play, ends up at corner. Like, do different things. Robber, anything. So, Mark, offensively, Alex Van Pelt. Okay. Go.
Well, listen. Van Pelt, listen, I know you're going to say the receivers can't get off the ball. The receivers are struggling. And yeah, they are struggling, Chris. But what is Van Pelt doing to get this team in positions where they can have positive plays and down the field? Like, how many times, Chris, have you seen him throw a ball down the field to a wide receiver, like on a corner route, something, anything, nothing? I don't know if he tried once in that Cincinnati game to Tyquan Thornton, right? Listen, there's no rub routes. Nothing's happening. Chris, they're not trying to get guys open. You look at Kansas City, they're running that. It's almost every play they're running. They're rubbing on somebody to see if they can get somebody open. They may not always do it, but it's almost like every single possession. There's movement. There's motion. There's people. There's picks being run to try to get guys open. You don't see any of that with Alex Van Pelt, Chris. None. Listen, Van Pelt, when he was in Cleveland, I know he didn't call the plays. But this is the type of offense Cleveland was technically running when Watson went down last year. So I think Van Pelt, even though he didn't call the plays, took the basic premise of what Cleveland did and he brought it here and said, listen, based on our, I'm sure, assuming he did an analysis of what we had for talent. And he must have said, look, based on what we have, Gerard, this is our only way to victory is playing this type of football because we don't have a quarterback. Well, in this case, Brissett, maybe what May you do. You're not going to spread the field out in 5 wide, 4 wide, and throw the ball 50 times a game. That's not who Van Pelt is, and shame on the Patriots because when McDaniels was here, Chris, yes, he had Brady. But remember, Chris, depending on the game plan of who they were playing, it changed from week to week. There were games where they came out 4 or 5 wide, no huddle, shotgun, and let Brady sling it. And then there were games he'd start out behind center, and you'd be running power football. But they changed
play
based
action.
on what they. Yes, but they changed week to week, Chris, based on the strengths and weaknesses of the team that they were playing. Van Pelt just runs the same thing every week. It don't matter who you're playing against. It don't matter what their strengths and weaknesses are on defense. He's going to play power football today. He's going to run the ball today. You watch, Chris. He's going to have heavy packages, uneven packages, 12 personnel. You're going to see it all. He's not going to throw. He's not Van Pelt. You're going to be very disappointed because Brissett's going to probably throw the ball even less than he did last week, maybe.
Like 20 times.
Like 20 times this week. That's all.
Look, if he has taken that stance of, look, Gerard,
He hasn't showed us anything different, has he? I know it's only week 4, but
if that's the stance he's taking, saying, look, Gerard, this is all we got, so this is all I can do, then you're not an OC. Get the hell out of here. I mean, that's it. Like if you're sitting there saying, look, I just don't have the talent to do what I want to do. Oh, you know what? Cut it out. You got enough guys in the slot. You got to try it. Show me that they can't do it first. That's a friggin' cop-out. And it's what we talked about as one of the reasons Drake May's not even playing. It's because he can't handle it. He can't handle having a rookie quarterback out there when the rookie quarterback can't do anything on the field to help him.
Chris, this team should be spread out 4 wide. Pop Douglas, the 2 rookies, Polk, Baker, bring Butte in, 4 wide, spread them, and put Brissett in the shotgun and see what he can do. Throw the ball, see what he can do. Come out and shock them. Throw the ball 40 times Sunday.
Yeah, I mean,
go wide with
10,
the young guys
and
see what you put all the young guys on the field and see what you can do all at once.
Yeah, go 10 personnel. Go 1 running back for a chip to try to help him.
Well, you definitely need help. You need a
move
chip.
Brissett out of the pocket. Move him out of the pocket. Roll him. Boot him so he can throw some on the run. But if you're going to go 10 personnel, like Mock said, you don't make one of the receivers your tight end.
And they do that every week, Chris. One of the receivers is always the tight end every single week.
I mean, make them your receivers, Mock. No,
they won't do it. But Chris, you want to talk about fooling San Francisco and having them on their heels with their head spinning. You come out and do that, and they're not preparing for that type of football at all.
No.
San Francisco.
No. And run some plays that are like running plays, but they're passes. You hear it all the time. Run some bubble routes out of the backfield. Take advantage of the pass rush. Take advantage of the fact that they're by the offensive
Chris,
line.
I don't
run some wide receiver screens. Pass.
They haven't ran a bubble route all year, have they?
I haven't seen one.
Or would you consider that week that they drew that past Henry for the big game? Was that technically a tight end bubble?
No, because the bubble's going to come out of the backfield. So unless he lined up back there, but I mean,
I don't remember.
But I mean, you got to do stuff like that. How about a nice wheel route? How about a rub to a wheel route? How about motion jet? How about take advantage of those defensive ends that are crashing down off the edges and jet on it once in a while? Make it easier for your offensive line. Get the damn ball out of his hands in 2.5 seconds. That's it.
Yeah,
but I don't think
Chris, you've always said that to try to do something a little bit different, and they so we'll see if they do it this week.
Yep, I don't think he's capable of it, but let's see. Like Joe said, hope.
So, Chris, if we get the message
hope springs
this week,
eternal, Joe.
Chris, if we get beat this week decently, like we lose by 2-3 touchdowns to this team with all of the injuries they got and the way that this San Francisco team is set up, because they technically are set up to probably lose.
Yeah.
If they go on and beat us, That's going to tell us a lot about this coaching staff. Now you've lost another one to a banged up and injured team.
I think there's a chance you see. There's a chance you may see May. It depends on what the offensive line looks like again, because the Dolphins are coming
you
in.
mean maybe that's what I was going to say. You mean against the Dolphins, not today.
No, against the Dolphins. So we'll see what happens. But Coach's Corner was presented by CORSO Law Group, CORSOLawGroup.com. Here we come back. We're going to have hope because we're going to make you some money. In fact, I know we're going to make you some money in Sunday Spread. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with the Pats Nation. Okay, Mark, here we go. Hey, listen, last week, why the hell can't I remember the game? But it was Arizona. My lock of the week last week was picking against Arizona and it's a game they should have won, but they end up losing by 7 and it was a 3.5 or some spread, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So here we are now this week. And we also have to pick the Patriots game. So let's not forget that, Mark, before we end the show.
Yes, of course we're going to pick the Patriots.
But I'll tell you something, we're going to pick these. Oh, listen.
What the hell is that?
You can't play that. You can't play that because you know what it's like? It's like the Pied Piper. I'm just going to get up from this thing and I'm just going to get in the car and I'm going to blindly drive to the casino. You stop playing that kind of stuff.
Degenerate right there.
But the only issue is when Chris gets to the casino, that's all background noise because he instantaneously starts we were in Encore in Boston. He takes my arm and he's blowing on my fingers because he wants me to throw the dice. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, kid? He lost his mind.
Should have seen me on the cruise. What the hell else is there to do? Either that or I'm going to jump over the side. So anyway, Mark, before we get into our picks, I could tell you something. I found this interesting because we were talking about, you know why I find it interesting? Because it pisses me off that we didn't do the trade for Fields and get Marvin Harrison. So I'm going to be on this all year long.
We go. Well, Pittsburgh, Chris, they fooled me because I think they stink, but they're undefeated with Fields.
Quarterbacks making the most out of their second chances. Okay. Sam Darnold, 3-0. Malik Willis, 2-0 for the Packers. Justin Fields is 3-0. Andy Dalton had his first win with Carolina. My God. These are guys that were tossed on the heap. We could have had Justin Fields for a third-round pick and drafted Marvin Harrison.
I don't think he went for a third-round pick, did he? Wasn't it higher than that, or was it third round?
Maybe it was fourth. I don't know.
Okay.
But whatever. The point
you wanted that deal because you said you wanted him and Harrison Jr.
So bad. So just a little note for everybody around the league. Look at these guys when you're betting the games because these guys are playing well. So, Mark, let's get to this week's game. I made a little money last week. I think if you listened to me, you made a little money. Mark, too, I think you had one. I think you did. I
did. I haven't warmed up yet, but when I get going, I usually go on a streak.
It's been tough. These 3 weeks were weird.
They've been tough weeks.
Okay. So I always have 4 on my sheet because you always pick mine. So go.
Oh, here we go. 4 machine. Okay. The first game is going to surprise some people a little bit. I'm going to take the LA Chargers at home against Kansas City because I think Kansas City has been flirting with danger for like 2 weeks in a row. They could have lost. They could have 2 losses. They're giving a touchdown to the Chargers at home. I'm going to take Harbaugh and the Chargers at home plus the 7. Yeah, I actually think they got a shot to win the game without the points with the money line, but I'm going to take them plus the 7.
That's what I was going to ask you. You like the money line there, or do you actually think this is a loss for them? They always have trouble against the Chargers.
They always have trouble against the Chargers. And I think, listen, Kansas City, Chris, I know they're undefeated.
They're not going to cover that 7.
I joked on CORSO with CATONE yesterday. I said, they're going to 3-peat. But, Chris, they really haven't looked good. They're winning. Listen, old typical Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. They're finding a way to win.
Getting
Doesn't that sound
getting calls,
doesn't-
getting calls.
Yeah, here we go, getting calls. But doesn't that sound familiar, Chris?
Yeah.
Great coach, great quarterback, finding ways to win. Right?
They're not
Okay.
them yet. I don't want to hear that.
All right, all right. No, all right.
What
So
else you got?
charges. I also, Chris, I'm going to tell you right now. I know it's a Monday night game. I get it. It's a Monday night game. I think Seattle falls off the cliff. They're undefeated. They listen. They didn't impress me in that game against the Patriots. I know they beat us. I'm going to take Detroit minus the points. I think they're giving 4. I'm going to take Detroit minus the points at home on Monday night.
They're the weakest 3-0 team.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that too.
You know,
I do believe that.
so you like that?
I do like that.
Money
And I tell you
line,
what, my last
money line or the point? What do you?
I think I would take the money line. And I'll take the points, but I would go money line in that Detroit game. Yeah, I think Detroit's going to smoke them. And I'm going to tell you who else, Chris.
What is the money line in that? I gotta look. I'll look. Go ahead.
Listen, I'll tell you what else I like, because we've been waiting for them to blow somebody out. They've been struggling. They're 2-1, but you and I both thought they could be contenders in the AFC for a Super Bowl. I'm going to take Houston at home because I think Jacksonville's one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the NFL. I'm going to take Houston minus the points at home against Jacksonville. It's under a touchdown. I'm going to take Houston. I think Houston wins in a blowout this week at home, finally.
Okay. I don't know. I'm having trouble finding that. Well, we'll get that money line in a minute. Okay. So for me, I'm looking at this. You know what? We weren't the same on any of it. So you don't have any of my games. You know, you're not stealing anything from this week. Okay. Looking at this Pittsburgh Indy game. Okay. So Pittsburgh's going into Indy and they're giving them a 1.5. That's the line in this game. And I got to tell you, I'm one of these people who I think Indy stinks. I just don't think they're a good football team. Okay. So, you know, it's a 1.5. Pittsburgh's going to go 4-0. People, you know what it is? I think they say, well, there's no way Pittsburgh's going to go 4-0, right? I think the way Indianapolis plays defense, I honestly think Justin Fields is going to have a good day running the football. You're going to see him get out and move around, and he's going to have a lot of yards on the ground versus throwing touchdowns. But a 1.5, I mean, that's a pick, you know. And so, who feels comfortable? Who really feels comfortable picking Indy in this game? Mark, unmute.
Indy stinks. I agree. Indy stinks.
That's one. The other one I like is Arizona.
You go back and forth on them every week, though.
I do, because that's how they are. That's how they are. You know,
yeah.
I honestly, it's a 3. Arizona's favored by 3.5 over Washington. I think everybody got all hyped up over Washington last week. Okay. And I think in Arizona, that line may move too. You know, that line, I think a lot of people are going to be putting money on Washington. Okay. So, you know, if that line moves, but anyway, throughout the morning, but Arizona, 3.5 points, take them at home. Okay. And then the other game, Philly at Tampa. Now, this is one of those games that people want to stay away from.
This is a tough one. I was just going to say that.
It's a tough game. And by the way, feel free to parlay these, or even, like Mark says, talk about a tease in this. Like, in other words, if you think Arizona's going to win the game outright, but you don't like the 3.5, well, tease it. Tease it with Pittsburgh. Tease it with Tampa Bay, something like that, or one of Mark's, and gain those 6 points. Philly, Tampa. Tampa's a home dog at a 1.5. Okay, against Philly. I'm taking Tampa outright in this game. Okay, I'm taking Tampa in this game to win. I've been impressed with Baker Mayfield. Okay, it's a plus 110 money line. Take the money line in this game and take Tampa.
Wow, making a stand with Tampa. You like Tampa?
I do like Tampa. I think they're going to win. I mean, I don't like Tampa, but I like them.
You know what I mean. Let's say,
week.
Speaking of Tampa, our thoughts and prayers are with the people from Florida. They had that major hurricane push through this week, you know, on Thursday, Friday. they're having it tough down there with flooding and it. So our thoughts and prayers are with them down there. They got to hit tough down there.
Yeah, they did. So yeah, hopefully everything is working out. It works out all there. So yeah, make sure you get online. You see any way to
Baker Mayfield comes with a win.
to help
up
the
the
community. So find a good, reliable donation resource, something you can help the people down there. The GoFundMe's or whatever, Red Cross, anything they do. Take a look at that. So, Mark, those are our picks. And make sure, listen, bet in game. I keep saying it. I say it every week. Bet in game. Watch the damn game. Okay? Put the drink down. Watch the game, and you could feel it. It's the NFL. You could feel when a score is coming. You can feel it happening. And so before they could switch the line on you, get in there, right?
For those of us that can multitask, you can still have a beverage in one hand and do what you need to do. If you can multitask. Some of us aren't like you. We're not old. We can multitask.
When he says us, when he says those of us that can multitask, is he implying that he's able to do that, Joe? Is that what my understanding is?
Get a bourbon in this guy. He could do anything.
Yes. Listen.
Should have seen him Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, I was so disgusted because we needed San Fran to win so bad. I was so disgusted.
Greenlaw had to go out of that game. All right. Yep. So let's get to the Patriots game. Okay. Now, Mark and I don't bet the Patriots game because it's just we don't do it. But if we were going to at 10.5, it's what, a 10-point, 10.5.
By the way, I was the only one. Everyone got sucked into that game last week. I was the only one that said the Jets were going to blow them out. Everybody got peeled back. All the experts, I'm not talking just about you, Chris. Everybody locally. Oh, take the points. Take the points. No way. Last week, no way.
So 10.5 now. The Patriots getting those, or are they giving up 10.5 here?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think you're tapping into the bourbon bottle now.
What do you think? See, what do you think Canadian missed?
Okay, listen. 10.5. I'm going to shock you. I'm going to shock you.
You're going to shock me because I'm taking the New England with the point for the.
I'm going to shock you. That ain't enough points. They're going to get blown out. 27-13, San Francisco.
Do you know? Well, I mean, what's the major play in there? Yeah, because what? You just think the defense, they're just going to put up points. They're going to be on a turnover situation.
I think you're going to finally see turnovers. I think there's a pick six for a touchdown this week. I think there's another fumble. I think it's a strip sack on Brissett. I think San Fran's going to be +2 or 3 in the turnover battle, and your defense is not good enough to survive that.
Take the Patriots outright with
offense isn't good.
Take the Patriots outright with a 455 money line plus 455. No. I'm taking the Patriots. I'm taking the Patriots because of the points. Because in every game, it's one of these. Alex Van Pelt isn't going to give him a chance to turn the ball over. So it's going to be a bumbling, fumbling. One of these like 20-13 games. That's what it's going to look like this week with all those injuries in San Fran. Got it?
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll see.
Do you all got it out there? Make sure you let us know in Heated Hotline. But the Pats Nation was presented by CORSO and CATONE Saturdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. Get on, watch, listen to all the shows, subscribe. Hit that QR code, scan it. You get all kinds of fun things when you do that. Come back next weekend, 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have our preview of the Tua-less Dolphins game in New England and so much more. We are the Pats Nation. Enjoy the game.